Hello, BookTube. It's not Tuesday, but I have a tag for you anyway. It's a special occasion because I was the inspiration for a tag. I was tagged by its original creator, James Holder, made the Decor Tag. Only a matter of time until that happened, considering how many decor magazines I have critiqued on my channel to weird approval from all of you. You seem to really like it when I do that. So James came up with a bunch of questions that don't involve books really at all. Certainly not any specific books. They're really just the kind of questions that I love on BookTube. They're all about you. We're having these conversations every day. I get naturally curious about what you like and don't like, and not always that comes out in videos. This is all about how you like your living space to go and how you would ideally like it to go. So question number one is, what is your design style just in general? And for me, just in general, it's a style that I've encountered many, many times, and that is old money shabby, where the places are very lived in. They're not dirty, but they're very lived in. They are very comfortable, they're very inviting, and it's only when you scratch the surface that you realize everything here is top quality. So this look was put together not to impress anyone, but also not to settle for less, not to settle for stuff that's going to break right away. I don't get a chance to experience that particular aesthetic much anymore. Certainly it doesn't show up in any of the magazines that I critique. But I used to regularly go. I have a bunch of old friends on Beacon Hill here in Boston that I have houses just like that. I used to regularly go to them. COVID sort of stopped that. Who knows if it'll start up again. I miss it sometimes. And then question number two is, how many rooms in your home contain your personal library? And here is a little bit of an awkward question, I think not just for me, but for everybody, since my books have gradually encroached all over Hyde Cottage. They are in the kitchen. They're in all the hallways. They line all the walls, everywhere where there's wall space. All of the paintings, the framed artwork and whatnot here at Hyde Cottage is all at eye level or higher, because the walls up until then are entirely books. The only exception nowadays is the bathroom. I used to have a great number of books in the bathroom. There are actually built-in bookcases in the bathroom. And then I decreased that number quite a bit, and now I've eliminated it completely. Now that my Kindle is waterproof, so that I would never drop it in the tub or in the or in the toilet or in the sink or anything like that. But I also, if it's waterproof, I also don't have to worry about it getting wet with the shower running in the bathroom. I don't have to worry about water at all with it. Incidental water contact's not going to bother it at all. Now that that's true, and since the thing is always in my hand, I just use that. So for the first time ever, my bathroom has no books in it at all. But that's the only exception. Let's see here. Question number three is, how often do you rearrange or redecorate your spaces? I do it regularly, not compulsively, but regularly. Regularly, I will look around me and I stare at these spaces all day long, literally all day long. So I will look around, and if I see something that I think can be fixed, a variation I might want to try, maybe this goes better there, I will gradually work my way up to doing it, and I will do it piecemeal, and then I will sit back and enjoy it piecemeal. You know, when you make a change like that, you can't expect to love it right away. So I don't ever make any subsequent changes until I've lived with it for a bit. The only real exception would be this little book room, which has stayed pretty much exactly in its current configuration for a very long time. Very long. I think it's largely perfect the way it is. The configuration, that is, not the size. This little book room is twice the size of what I would like, but that's going to come up later in the tag. Question number four is, have you ever had your home professionally remodeled or redesigned? I would consent to having mine finished. I've never had it professionally remodeled or redesigned, but I have had it now perennially constructed and deconstructed. I would very much like it if construction were over here. But either it's going full swing in a far more uncontrolled manner than you were promised that it would, so that it's interfering with every aspect of your daily life, or suddenly it's stopped and is stopping for a long, long period of time where there's no activity at all. Any of you who've ever had work done in your home will know that rhythm. And I can't honestly say which is more annoying. But I've never had anything professionally redone. No, why would I? Look at what I talk about with those decor magazines. All those the arrangements that I pillory in those magazines were the brainchildren of professional redesigners. I can do better myself. I can quite literally do better myself. So no, all I want now is for construction to be over. That would be nice. Question number 5 is, do you watch or read media devoted to architecture, interior design, or decorating? And I do both. We already know that I read magazines, right? I get a bunch of magazines: Coastal Living, Home Decor, House Beautiful, Architectural Digest. I used to get a bunch more, but I still get a bunch of them that I get, every other month or whenever they come out. And I don't really know why. I mean, before they became a surprise hit on my BookTube channel, now I know why, because I'll just do that. If it pleases you all, if it makes you laugh, I'll do that. But before then, I don't really know why. Maybe it was just a vicarious thrill of looking at these spaces that I would never, ever want to occupy. It certainly wasn't envy. I've almost never seen anything in one of those magazines that made me think, ooh. I can't remember the last time that happened, except maybe a really nice bathtub. I had, for the first 30 years of my life, I had really nice bathtubs, old wartime, pre-war bathtubs, big metal, deep bathtubs, and they are gone. They have gone the way of the dodo. So you just don't find them anymore. Even in old houses, the old houses have had their bathrooms and their plumbing is entirely ripped out and redone, and you get these plastic little puddles like the one I have now. You couldn't use it as bathtub, except maybe for a dog. Or a child, which I imagine is the point. I imagine that when I look at these things, I always think, why, if it looks like this, if it's completely non-functional for a bath, why have it here at all? Why not just rearrange the floor plan a little and make a very generous shower stall, something that you can stretch your arms out in both directions and you won't reach the wall? That would be real luxurious. And then I remember, no, this is probably here because parents want to give their kids baths in the tub. That's about all they're good for. But in addition to those magazines, I also watch stuff. I watch, there are a whole bunch of channels that take you on tours of New York City apartments for all different price ranges, from the videos about the really small apartments that that are smaller than this room, have no bathroom, and go for $1,000 a month, to the really opulent ones, $50,000 a month, that are incredible. It's incredible to walk through them because I don't always have access to those places and don't have any access to them anymore. I've been in places like that in New York and in Boston and elsewhere, but it's always fun to see those tours. But I also watch tiny house videos, subscribe to a whole bunch of tiny house channels, for the fun of seeing. You've always got engineers thinking, how much more can I pack into this little space? I don't want the space to be any bigger. If I ask for more space, I have failed. I've lost at this game. So how can I fit more into this little space? I watch for that, for the engineering marvel of it. I confess, watch because it's always fun in any tiny house tour or breakdown to watch how the tour guide eventually gets around to the $64,000 question when it comes to the tiny house, which is the toilet. It is the toilet. Does the toilet smell? Does it stink up the whole of the tiny house? Is it a logistical Kantian nightmare to operate and to maintain? I watch it for those reasons, but also along the same lines, tiny boat living and van life. I watch a ton of those videos too, a ton of them. They're basically home decor videos. They're home decor and design videos. That's basically what they are. It's only rarely that the really she high frou-frou end of van life where the van will have a functioning bathroom. Usually those videos also revolve eventually around the toilet, but they're the same way in terms of engineering fascination. How are you going to solve these problems given the very small amount of space that you have? I think they're fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Let's see here. Question number 6 is my favorite one. You have an unlimited budget to build your dream home. What style, subsection, question number A from here is, what style would your home be? And if I had unlimited money and completely my druthers and freedom, I would have an old style Cape Cod shingle house, the salt weathered shingles on the outside. And the interior floor plan would be very, very simple. It would have no basement. It might have, it would have a septic tank and all that, but there would be no basement. Instead, it would be there'd be a minor entranceway. I'm a big fan of entranceways that are discrete from the rest of the house. So you open the door to the outside world. You open that door and you are in an entranceway. of some kind. It doesn't have to be big at all, but it also has a door. It is separate from the rest of the house. It's where you come in and make yourself presentable. Take off wet or snowy or muddy clothes and pile them. Get yourself ready without immediately confronting the house. I can't stand it when front entranceways just walk right into the home. That drives me nuts. So there would be that little space. You couldn't call it a room. It wouldn't be weatherized in any way, but I would want it to have an electric light out there. And then the main floor plan of the house would be one enormous room that is running right in the middle of it is a big working fireplace. And the open face of the fireplace points out at one half of that room, longitudinally, which is the big room of the house. It's heated by that fireplace. It might have electricity for reading. It might have windows. It will be full of old, battered, comfy couches and chairs, full of sleeping dogs. It will have a few thousand books in bookcases that line the walls. That will be the room. That is the room where either you can be by yourself or where you can have plenty of guests and they can all just find a space to hang out. That would be one half of that longitudinal, one half of that square box. So you've got a square box, a little entranceway here that isn't part of the box. Everything else is part of the box. So you have that one half of that is that big room with the fireplace in the middle, right here, facing that room. But there would be flues from that fireplace lighting the other side of the wall, heating the other side of the wall. And the other side of the wall would be 3 rooms. A bathroom, a guest room, and a very tiny master bedroom. My room would be very tiny. Preferably if I could build this dream house from ground up, the floor space in my bedroom would be the same or much less than the bathroom. The amount of space on the second half of that wall would mainly go to the guest room. No matter what else I use it for. There'd be books in that room as well, but I'd like to have plenty of guests. And maybe at one end of the house or the other, a narrow staircase going up to an attic. Maybe an attic. And I would want the attic to be weatherized. I'd like it to have deep dormer windows. I'd like it to be possible for somebody to live up there. In other words, one element of my dream house would be the element that I am slowly but surely approaching here, which is zero storage. I hate storage in houses. I just hate it because it encourages you to waste things. There's only one place for storage here, and it is getting smaller all the time. I am slowly but surely, if you can put something in storage, you can get rid of it, is my thinking, even though I haven't lived up to that thinking. So that would be the whole of the house. It would just be one box, preferably on really solid ground, but not that far away from the ocean, preferably on Cape Cod. It would be a shingle-style house. I'm not 100% sure that I would want it weatherized. Maybe not. If you've got a fireplace and the flues heat either of the 2 bedrooms, maybe just electricity would be fine and not any kind of heating system. I don't know about that, not for sure, especially considering the world that we're moving into. I would want the electricity for air conditioning, not heating. But in addition to that, I would want privacy. So ideally, I would want the bedrooms to each have a window or 2, and the bathroom to have a little window that's heavily glazed. I would want there to be windows on all 3 sides of the main room. But I'd want them to be private. I'd want there to be very little property, first of all. I don't need a whole lot of space. I don't need a whole lot of property. Property is also, it tempts you to let your dog out instead of going with walks. And that's bad. It's bad for you, and it's bad for them especially. But I want the property to be ringed by a row of trees all the way around the back. All the way around what you would be looking out the window to see. So maybe a tiny bit, a yard's length of grass, and then trees. And on the other side of the trees, immediately behind the trees, I would want a 10-foot tall fence as well. So wall of the house, tiny little yard, then trees, then immediately a fence. So privacy. So that you've got all the natural light in the world when you're out in that main room, but no one can see into your house. That also bugs me. So I'm never going to have that. I've never seen a house like that, but that's what I would want. Then subsection B of this question is, what would you do with your library? And I would not have a separate library. I'm very much a fan of living with my books, of living in my library, as you can tell. Since that's exactly what I do. I'm very much a fan of that. I like the books to be around where people can see them, where I can see them, where they can breathe and feel used and loved and looked at. Having a separate room that is the library and putting all my books in there, I'm sure that this question means your personal library, your personal collection of books, not a room. But I wouldn't want a room. I would want just to have the books everywhere. Then subsection C is, are there anything, okay, all right. Is there anything specific you would like to do with any rooms or spaces? Well, as I mentioned, it'd be nice if we could finish construction. That would be great, since it's been a year. But I'd also like, again, I mentioned that this little room, this little book room, it's been my home for a long time. I love it. I always make a space like this. Whenever I have, no matter where I live, I make a space like this. A space that is me, my room, my books, my dogs, and that is close-offable from the rest of the world. But the only complaint I have about this little book room is that it's too big. It's about twice the size of what I want, ideally what I want. And in Hyde Cottage, there is a way, again, if I had unlimited funds, there is a space. There's a way to massage the space in this place to make exactly the kind of space I'm talking about. God only knows what it would cost to do, but there's a bathroom. The back wall of the bathroom abuts with the interior wall of the hutch, of the Depths of Mordor out in the living room. But it doesn't abut directly. There's a good deal of space in between there, those two spaces. And the other back wall of the hutch abuts with a pantry where the washer and dryer are. But that also is mismanaged space. The washer and dryer is on the interior wall instead of the exterior wall. A little bit of pipe extending, and they could be on the far wall of that little pantry or on the exterior wall. It's not like anybody uses that window. You could be there instead. And if they were there, and if I took everything out of the Depths of Mordor, took everything out of the pantry, took everything out of the bathroom, I think it would be possible to tear out that space and make a room. It would open up off the living room, and it would be pretty much exactly the size and shape that I want. Pretty much exactly. But it would cost $70,000 to do, so I'm not going to do it. Then subsection D is, are there any specific places you would like to use, pieces that you would like to use in those spaces? If this means pieces of furniture, no, not at all. I don't even need, I have an old metal bed frame. It's a narrow old bed, but I don't even need that. I don't have any sentimental attachment to it. I could get rid of it easily and just sleep on a pile of blankets on the floor. All I need are a pile of blankets and pillows, dogs, and an outlet that works for my Wi-Fi and for air conditioning in really hot weather and things like that. But not anything else. Very, very minimal, that little room. It's so close yet so far. I know that the floor plan that I'm dealing with here allows it. I know that. But it's getting there that would do it. It would be a nightmare, just a nightmare. So I don't think I'll ever do it. And that is it, except for to tag people. For the Decor Tag, an original tag from James Holder, I'm going to tag the Bookclectic. I will tag Jim Reed, since you just did me the favor. I'll tag Gareth, Book Songs and Other Magic. Daniel at Guilty Feet. I'll tag Shelly Swearingen. Gina Stanyer. Let me know about your dream houses, your dream spaces. Do you have them now? Are you close to having them now? Did you get your current space so that it would be closer to a dream for you? Are your architectural dream spaces achievable? Is another one. I suppose it's theoretically possible that I could achieve my dream space. It's not that hard to do. It would just require a huge amount of money. But what about you? I'd love to know that. Probably a lot of you will differ from me in that you will want a lot more space, and I bet you'll very much differ from me in wanting a lot of land, property, rolling lawns, and that sort of thing. I don't need that at all. But I wonder if you do. Let me know. Anyway, that was the Decor Tag. I'll wrap this up for now, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.